Good morning, everyone, and welcome back.
Morning.
So good.
Good
welcome
to be
to Mornings Together with Rob, Mon, and Bernie. It is great to have you on this fine Wednesday morning. I actually had to check my calendar just then to actually figure out what day it was because everything kind of blurs together at this point in time.
It's a fun Wednesday.
Yeah. Day 28, guys. Day 28. That's
Crazy.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks. Done.
That's a
But
long
not
time.
over. Not over yet. It's a long time.
Yeah.
There is guaranteed still people being like, I'm still wanting to do this thing that I've said I was going to do at the start of lockdown. I haven't done it yet. I'm thankful that we have an extra week at level 4 because it gives me one last little chance to be able to do.
It's almost
something.
like this panic feeling of, I better hurry up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So people are commenting already. So good morning from Darren Porter saying sup team. Georgia Ellison saying good morning. Oh, God morning. That works too. This is definitely part of my routine now. God bless you guys. And
Nice.
Caleb Fryatt is saying if we rename this show to Online at 9, the Fryatts will do your jingle. That
My
goodness.
is tempting as anything to make happen.
totally.
Maybe that's a lockdown 3 change.
Maybe.
Online.
Yeah. Online at 9.
Unlearned it.
There you go. Michaela Gary is there saying giving her a daily check-in, letting us know that she's there.
So good.
And Cook, good morning. The sun is shining. Yeah.
Yes,
like that.
blue sky. Love it.
Sharon Margaret is good morning, guys. Lovely to see you again. The Beagles are watching. So lovely to have you all with us again on this it is a fine morning, isn't it? Fine autumn morning.
Yeah.
It's chilly, but it's good.
It's chilly, but it's good. How cold was it last night? Oh, we had our heat pump on for the first time last night.
Had the heater on first time. Yep.
Yeah.
I love autumn.
Yeah.
Love autumn. Love the color change. Love walking in the neighborhood. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I do love me a dry autumn. I don't like a super wet autumn, but a dry autumn is nice. You know, crisp and cool.
Yeah. A wet autumn makes me think of England. That's the only thing. Every time you see England, it's raining and wet. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like.
And now we've just transitioned to that show where people just sit around and talk about the weather all morning and stuff like that. So we need to press on. Let's carry on. So this morning we have got a great show for you today. We have Baptist Union leader Charles Hewlett with us today, so we'll be bringing him on later in the show, which is going to be really cool. But before we get there, we've got our usual bits and pieces to get through. The first, of course, is my question to Mon and Rob, and of course to you guys in the comments. And the question today, it's a bit of a lighthearted one, but also serious and also challenging to actually come up with a good answer, because we don't just want you to say any, just generic biblical character. Because I mean, come on, I know we're all Christians here and whatnot, but we don't. Let's not do that. If you could get any guest on this show, alive or dead, who would it be and why? So I want to see answers from our viewers in the comment section, but I'm going to throw it to Rob first. Rob,
here we go.
Who would you invite on the show, whether alive or dead, and why?
So for me, I'd want to have 2. So I'd be like sitting in the middle, like a Paul Henry, and I'll be getting these 2 to talk about issues of the day. And what would be amazing is to have Winston Churchill and Charles Spurgeon, okay?
Ooh, yeah.
And have them sitting on either side of the table, and then we put out today's conundrums to them, and they're just polemic, straight talkers. Both men of faith, both like, and they just get into it. And I'd just love to see those 2 go in at it at a table. That'd be awesome. Charles Spurgeon on one side with a beard, and then Churchill on the other side. I don't believe that, just awesome.
Heavyweight.
How many times do you think Churchill will just storm out though from the interview? He'd just be like, well, wow.
Yeah, I've had enough.
Yeah. Done.
What about you, Mon?
Oh my goodness. You know who the first person that came to my mind? I would love to sit across or have on the show Tim Keller. I love Tim Keller, and I love listening to him. I love his take on stuff. It would be so interesting. And I know he's been doing his own podcast on how New York is even handling the pandemic and stuff, but he's just fascinating to me. He'd be a brilliant one to have on the show. And the other one, just for fun, and the other person that came straight to my mind, maybe because it's just on my mind, I find Lin-Manuel Miranda, the guy from Hamilton, so compelling. It'd be so cool to do a rap on the fly or something. The guy's a genius. He's so creative. But something like that. Yeah. So I know not Charles Spurgeon or Winston Churchill, but Tim Keller and Lin-Manuel.
Hey,
So
people we could probably get.
So I've done host 101 mistake where it's like I posed the question without actually having an answer fully prepared in my own mind to be able to answer this as well. But I think having Robin Williams on this show would be really great. If you can try and get him to balance out between the humorous side, but also sharing some of his insights on life and stuff like that. But also I think having Billy Graham just for the yarns about just his life's work would be incredible. And just the stories and encounters and things like that. But then my mind also goes to like, we've said if we could get any guest, I'd love to have Iron Man on the show. Tony Stark could just hang out. He could go for a ride in his jets and stuff like that. Robert Downey Jr. That'd be pretty fun too. We've had a few people comment already. Michaela Gary is saying Pete, Vika, and Deb. So I think that's potentially an idea for a future episode where our partners take over. Could be the partner takeover.
Tell the real truth about us.
The real truth. Yeah. Darren Porter has said Keith Richards because he could give us the secrets to eternal life.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if you saw a meme about Keith Richards the other day. Oh, there's so many, but it was saying like Keith Richards has been tested positive for everything apart from COVID-19, and he's still going fine. So, Eric agrees with you, Mon. Let's say let's please to Tim Keller. Let's invite him because we're totally big enough to be able to invite people like that. And then Hannah's actually said one of those really kind of sentimental. She's saying grandparents, because when you grow up, you never realize you tried to find out what their lives are really like. That's actually quite a beautiful one. I like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tina Porter, and I can't believe I didn't think about this as well, saying C.S. Lewis. I would just love to hear his logical take on all that is going on in our crazy world. Yeah. Imagine if we had C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien in like at the same room, just like
come on,
spinning yarns and telling stories.
Never contemporaries. So that'd be amazing. Yeah,
best podcast ever.
Yeah, it would be. You could just listen to that thing on repeat for hours and hours. It'd probably be very long as well.
Exactly.
So keep commenting there. We want to see who you want as guests on the show, alive or dead. Realizing we have this much of a budget, so we can't get all these people on. But we will try our best for some.
Context.
Great question, Bernie.
Yeah. And I think we continue in our pursuit. They say New Zealanders, there's 2 degrees of separation. We want Auntie Jacinda on at some point. So I'm sure there's someone watching this right now who can help us make that happen. But we'll see. Right. Who knows?
Who's got that connection? Come on.
Who's got the connection?
Who's got the connection? But I'm going to pass things over to Flavor Rob now.
Yeah, Flavor Rob.
Here we go, people. Get excited. All right. This morning, I felt like we needed to go vegetarian. And I know some people are hissing and booing all of a sudden, but vegetarian is the way this morning. And so I want to give you a real simple recipe we do here at home, and that is a spinach and ricotta cannelloni. All right.
Ooh.
Love pasta. All right. And it's very simple. It's very cheap. Wow. Okay. So first thing you need to go out and buy is some San Remo cannelloni. Okay. Little tubes. There's about 20 or 30 in there. And then one of my favorite things to buy is this right here. Perfecto Italiano ricotta. It's good in cheesecakes. It's on pizzas. You can spread it on your toast. Those 2 ingredients make the base of this. And the tomato sauce, the pizza sauce, which I talked about way back when, cans of tomatoes. Okay, so you get your dish, you fill it with your cans of tomatoes, you put some salt, pepper, and some herbs in there. Okay, that's a good base. Then you just put in the food processor frozen spinach. Okay, you can buy them. They come in balls about this big. So you put them in the microwave, you defrost them, and you just squeeze out the last bit of the water. Put that in your food processor, bit of garlic, salt and pepper, some herbs, your ricotta, any other flavors you think would go really well in there. Good handful of Parmesan cheese, and then you stuff your tubes, all right? And then you lay your tubes out on top of your tomatoes, all right? And then you make what's called a bechamel sauce. If you can't make a bechamel sauce, it's basically make a roux, which is 50% butter, 50% flour, cook it out a bit, milk, white sauce. Yeah. If you can't do that, you can use creme fraiche, okay? And a couple of handfuls of Parmesan and some herbs, okay? And you put that on top, another bit and put it in the oven, and you leave it there for about half an hour. It is sublime, okay?
Oh, good.
So, nice and easy. Grab some of that.
Oh, Rob, you legend. You're helping people out all over the show, cooking fancy meals.
Lord.
Fancy meals.
There are people watching this right now who have a girlfriend or boyfriend that they haven't been able to see for the last few weeks. All these tips, they're going to, I'm gonna woo that person with food when I get out of this lockdown. It's going to be a good time.
Good.
Yeah. Eat a Flavor Rob
Flavor Rob. We've had
Nice.
some other
Sure.
ideas coming through in terms of guests. Barry Smith for his take on what's happening now. Pauline Longley says Nelson Mandela, which is cool.
Yep.
Dory Jones is actually suggesting that we try Keith Ardern for that 2 degrees of separation. So we'll see. We'll see. So keep commenting away. Loving hearing you guys interacting with us as we go through this time together, and it's amazing to think that we have done 18 of these episodes and we have you all still with us, and it continues to grow, and we're excited about where this is going in the future, and we're excited about the guests we have coming up. But the whole point of this whole thing is how do we be together in isolation, and a big part of that is sharing stories. And today I have a highly requested thing for us to witness. I say highly, it's been highly requested over the last little while. And, we've been asking for people to send in their TikToks and things like that. Today, I'm proud to share with you Eric Skilproat's
Come on,
TikTok.
Eric.
AKA.
Here we go.
AKA
Come on,
Skippy.
Skippy.
So let me just set it up here for a second. Stand by. So he filmed this with his wife and with his daughter. So let me just get this set. Stand by. All right. You guys can see that all right? All right, let me roll this for you.
Damn, your girl so fine, but her breath is like, ooh. She say she wanna dance, but she don't know how to. I'm ice.
Oh, Eric.
Rock a star. My name is Jen.
Yes.
How
Love
good?
it.
How
Come on,
good?
people.
How good?
Get excited. That is
There
fantastic.
you go.
Correct me up. That's awesome.
Please keep sending us your TikToks and things like that. It makes our day. Please keep sending through your stories and pictures and stuff. So you can send everything through to stories@bethlehem.org.nz. And thank you to all those who do continue to send stuff through. There are some days where there's a whole mountain of stuff, and other days where there's not so much. But keep sending it through. Love seeing what you and your families are up to. Love seeing those TikToks. So what you can do if you're wondering about how to send through your TikToks, just send a link to it to that email address, and then I can grab it just like I did just then, and we can show it on here just like that. So feel free to fire those through. If for anything you want, you can tag us in on all social media platforms at Beth Bat Church. Whether it be you're watching the services on Sunday, or you're watching the children's programming, youth programming, or you're just watching this as well. Feel free to share this little thing that we're doing right here as well. So we're on YouTube and on church platform, and also on Facebook. Share it with your friends or your enemies. I don't know. Everybody can watch this. We're also after the show is done, we're on a Apple Podcast and Spotify as well, so you can go listen to the previous 17 episodes right now, and this one will be up later today as well. Throughout this season, if you need help for any reason, care@bethlehem.org.nz, you can email or give the church a call on that number that's on the screen as well. You can also fire through your prayer requests to 4040 using the keyword BBC prayer. And guys, I think we're going to hashtag keep this going. Keep it going.
Let's go.
We'll keep it going, eh?
We will keep it going.
That will make Caleb Pride happy. All right, let's just check the comments before we can bring our guest on. Vicky Fryer is saying that John Mayer on the show, or Justin Bieber, please and thank you.
Wow.
I wonder if having both of them on at the same time would be a bit of a wild ride, but
it would be.
It would be. Donna Maria is saying, glad you wear PJs, Eric.
Yep.
The
tie was a nice touch, I thought.
The tie was a nice touch as well. Eric's also saying, glad I have to stay inside now.
Come on, Mr. Skip. He's been immortalized online.
Yeah. And we're having people saying we love you, Eric, and more Eric. So Eric, we're gonna have to work on that in the future as well.
Don't be ashamed,
but Rob, why don't you let us know a bit more about our guest, and then we'll bring him on.
Yeah. Well, we're blessed today to have Charles Hewlett with us. Charles has been the principal of Carey Baptist Bible College, where I studied, and he is now the national leader of the Baptist movement of churches. So we're really blessed to have him with us this morning on our show. Welcome, Charles Hewlett.
Hey, Charles.
Good to be here. I feel like I'm letting you down a little bit now after all those wonderful ideas of guests. Every guest is awesome, and we love having everybody on. And let's be real, we're not going to get Tolkien and C.S. Lewis in this show, but we are going to get the leader of the Baptist Union. Come on. And lots of good friends at Bethlehem, so it's really nice to be here.
Well, it's great to have you on with us this morning, Charles. The thing I like about having you on today is because you're going to give us every dirty little secret about Rob from when he was studying at Carey. And so far,
how we got here.
Yeah, how much time do we have? You can push out the end. We can keep going for as long as we need to. But I think I think it's a great place to start. Why don't you tell us a bit more about yourself and then how things are in your bubble?
Cool. I mean, I always love it when people ask me, who am I? Because it gives me a really good opportunity to answer. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but who am I? I really want to say I'm actually a child of God.
No
I am
way.
a chosen child of God, and that's the place I want to start. You may not believe it, but just like you guys, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm.
And God created me to join him in his work. And in fact, he knows the number of hairs on my head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Bible tells us nothing can separate me from of his love for me in Jesus Christ. So that's always got to be the starting point for me. And particularly as a leader, I am a chosen child of God, as everyone out there is. I think the messages we hear from the world today are so wrong, and they're not the truth. And so, that's the starting point. And I reckon it's got to be for everyone. That's who I am. But I'm married to Joanne. We live in Ellerslie in Auckland. I can walk. It's about 10 minutes to the Baptist National Centre from where I live.
Nice.
I'm in my bubble with my wife, Joanne, and our 14-year-old daughter, Jessica. And interesting thing about us, we have a profoundly disabled son who lives with both mental and physical disabilities. And because of the lockdown, we can't get to him. We don't see him. So we have to live life separate. He lives in care with 3 other young adults, and because they're all medically fragile, we have to keep our distance. So it seems like ages since we've been able to see him. So that's a little bit about me. A child of God, blessed with a wonderful family. Yeah.
Oh wow! Wow, thanks for sharing that with us, Charles. That's awesome. So, I guess we'll pivot to a less serious question first, and that, of course, is what was Rob really like as a student at Carey? I hear that there's some story about a nickname that he might have created for you, something about a golden bear or something like that.
Yeah, ever since Rob Stacey was at Carey, that's what I've been known as, the golden bear. I'm not actually sure where that came from, so that might be better for Rob to answer that question rather than me.
It was when your hair was much blonder, Charles, and not so grey, and you were twice the man you are now. So
Is that what that was about, Rob?
Yeah, polar bear. You look like a lovely, cuddly polar bear. That's what you look like.
But it was interesting, Bernie, because I was thinking about my relationship with Rob and trying to remember back in the day when he was at Carey. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing was that only good things came to my mind.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Too nice, Charles. You're too nice.
When I think back to Rob Stacey, I remember a guy who was a hard worker. Yeah, that's what I remember. And not just with his studies, but he was a hard worker with his family. In his church placements and his hard worker with his relationships with people. So, I'm a little bit disappointed. I don't really have a lot of dirt to dish up on Rob.
So you're saying there's no dirt at all on Rob that you can.
I'd probably say that Bethlehem is blessed, and I'd probably like him to be my pastor as well. So, I'm probably disappointing you guys there.
But we love him.
Happy with.
Yeah.
Rob's been a great addition.
Rob has gone very red. You can see this. He's feeling the love this morning.
You want to hang around if you're the generations pastor, Rob, aren't you? Bethlehem Baptist. You got to surround yourself with good people. And Rob Stacey, in my mind, is one of those people you want to hang around. And Debs as well. A couple of amazing people you've got on your team.
Awesome.
Thanks, Charles.
So as we've gone through lockdown, what are some of the stories you've heard from New Zealand Baptist churches that are encouraging or exciting you?
Could I it's a story maybe that from my own experience.
For sure.
Because I get pulled into meetings and places all over the place. But a couple of weeks ago, I got invited to Zoom in with the youth pastors in the Baptist movement of New Zealand, and that was just remarkable. So Zoom, you fill up the pages. There's 50 youth pastors from all over New Zealand, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm hearing them talk about their love for the youth of New Zealand, and the creativity. They were so contagious, their love for Jesus, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, this is part of the movement that I'm meant to be leading. These are the youth pastors that are ministering throughout our land, and I guess that's probably one of the highlights for me. Dan was part of Dan and some of your team were part of the conversation, contributing, and they were just sharing what the various churches are doing, and I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, God. You have blessed us in so many ways. I've been encouraged as national leader. We've got to get behind our youth pastors. We've got to get behind the youth in our movement, and we've got to support them the best that we can. So I think that's probably a very clear highlight. Seeing how our churches are looking after young people.
Awesome. That's so good.
Love that. Love hearing that.
So every Wednesday we've done kind of it's like a midweek health check, and so over the last few weeks we've looked at mental health, we've looked at your physical health and relational health, and so we wanted to ask you around spiritual health. Is how can what can our listeners be doing for their spiritual health during lockdown to enable a healthy spiritual well-being? What are some tips?
For me, and I guess having been at Carey Baptist College for 13 years or so, and it's really simple for me, Bernie, and but I think it's so hard, and I think it is so forgotten. I was taught as a young boy, that little song, read your Bible and pray every day, and you'll grow. I lament that I think many followers of Jesus have forgotten that basic spiritual discipline to each day. And sorry, I'm probably, being very simple here and disappointing you on this.
Not disappointing at all.
I love it.
Simple is good. Little nuggets are good.
But as a movement, we've got to get back to that simple discipline. Just taking a little bit of time each day. I'm going to read God's word, and I'm just going to sit with it, and I'm going to engage with it, and I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to ask God to speak to me through it. And once I've done that, I'm going to put my Bible down, and I'm going to pray, and I'm just going to spend a few minutes listening to God, telling him that I love him, and asking him to help me grow. And I lament because we just take that for granted, and I think so many followers of Jesus have moved away from that. So that'd be my massive challenge for people in Bethlehem Baptist Church and wider. Maybe people who don't know Jesus is never give up on the Bible, never give up on that daily discipline of being in the scriptures. If you want something a little bit more complicated, I would encourage you to go to the whole idea I was talking about of reminding yourself who you are. You are a child of God, and Henry Nouwen is one of my favourite writers, and he talks a lot about this. 3 steps to reminding yourself that you're a child of God, and do this on I'm having to do this on a daily basis as I try and survive this lockdown. Know the truth. Know the truth of who you are. So read Psalm 139 regularly, and in that sense, you reminding yourself of the destructive message of the world. Surround yourself with people who remind you of who you are. I talked about Rob before. Remind yourself of who positively recognise who you are. And thirdly, is one we don't do very often, is we just got to celebrate that we're a child of God. Wow! Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I achieved. Kiwis aren't so good at that. So so that'd be a couple of things for me.
That's awesome.
Spend time in the Word and constantly remind yourself, who I am. I'm a chosen child of Jesus.
I think that's really important, because I think what lockdown brings, and I think using the terminology, it's been a whirlwind of a time, and there's a lot of uprooting and stuff that's happened for a lot of people, and a lot of people having to reestablish normal. And I think that's important. Like I think that's why I think I don't think you should discount the simplicity of what you've said, because it is the core of who we are, and the core disciplines we need to get back to that are going to help ground us as we continue to move forward through uncertain times. It does sound simple, but it is so important, and it is one of the most challenging things to do as a Christian, is to have that daily routine, daily spiritual discipline, because there's so many other things stealing your attention. It's way easy. It's almost in your mind is simpler to watch something like Tiger King than it is to spend 40 minutes in the Bible and prayer.
It is. It's crucial. It's profound and simple, but it is. We can never get past that. It is always should be our launching thing. The Word, time with God. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I like what you said, because it goes on beyond lockdown as well. And that was part of the next question, in terms of as we begin to go down the levels, and as we begin to walk our way out of lockdown as churches and as believers, what are some things we should be focusing on as we move forward out of this? Whether it be mission and strategy, or just things we need to. I think I like what you said. Like, we need to remind ourselves in a simple way of who we are and those simple disciplines. What does that mean as we move forward out of lockdown times?
And a lot of people ask me, what does this mean? What's the future going to look like? I'm not sure God has told us the answer to that question yet, and I think He wants us to sit in the uncertainty for a little while before we jump to conclusions. But for me, as national leader, my simple task is to keep the eyes of Baptist churches firmly fixed on Jesus. Then we will know what to do. Then we will know what our priorities are. If our eyes are firmly fixed on Jesus, then we will be filled with compassion. Then we will be wanting to serve others. Then we will challenge the status quo. Then we want to restore what is broken. These are the things that God wants us to do. And if we are going to reach the world, the new world that we are going to be part of, number one, get those eyes firmly fixed on Jesus. Then the church will be strong. Then we will know what our priorities are. Then we will know how to treat our neighbours. Then we will know how to lead people. It's crucial. But for me, I think actually Bloomfield's interesting when he talks about how do we deal with this virus. Well, he talks about the importance of dealing with it and tracking it locally. I don't know if you hear that a lot. He uses the word local a lot. That's how we can break the transmission, because we have local knowledge. We know where it's coming from or where it's going. As a movement, we have 240 faith communities. So what do I see the future as? I just see 240 Baptist faith communities being unleashed on their communities, being involved locally in their neighbourhoods.
I love that.
Let's not get tied up on how our movement's going to respond, and whether our national leader's going to do that, and whether our movement's going to do this, and are we going to be seen here and there? No. Let's just focus locally, and let's bring renewal to people and places in the regions we're at. Your area, though.
Great.
You go and do that, and you go and focus on that. Keep your eyes firmly fixed on Jesus, and keep your eyes firmly fixed on the local. And remember, that the gospel is the power of God. It will bring renewal to people and to places. In Tauranga, in that Bethlehem region. So that's what I hope our churches do, is they think local, they think my neighbourhood, and I'm going to bring renewal there.
Oh, what a charge! How good is that?
I know. What a charge!
Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just want to, Charles. I just want to show you while you were talking. We had a bunch of different comments come through via Facebook, and I just want to show you a few of them. So Graham Randall says, "Back to Christian basics." Thumbs up. Hannah is saying, "Spot on, Charles." She's guilty for not doing the Bible reading stuff. Georgia is saying, "I love this. So simple yet so important." Yvonne Flett, excellent. Just this. Thank you, Charles. We need this reminder. Familiar Officer Oliver. Graham Randall again saying, great thoughts, Charles. Thank you. Carla Gary, thank you. So good, Charles. So obviously what you're saying is resonating with our viewership and with
for sure,
who are in the church. And I think it is. I think we like to complicate things way too much. And I
absolutely, Bernie. Yep.
and especially from my perspective, I do like the production and the services thing, and so we're constantly thinking like, what new things can we implement to make such and such captivating and such. And I like this because if you get back to the core basics and your eyes are fixed on Jesus, everything else is going to fall into place. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the idea of it's getting a little bit complicated now, but simplicity on the other side of complexity. Doesn't mean as Christians we don't think, but it's so important if we want to be relevant to the world we live in, and it's a massive challenge for people. Rob would have heard me talk about this a lot. It's how do we achieve this simplicity on the other side of complexity? Big challenge for us as Christian.
Yeah, it's a great challenge. So
good.
So you're a national leader of the Baptist Union. For those who are not aware, the Baptist churches are kind of united by this union, and we move forward together. The question was what are the most rewarding things, but what I also want to ask what are some of the challenging things, and how can we be supporting you and our Baptist churches during this time as we move forward into the future. So what are some of the rewarding things, but also what are some of the challenges, and how can we support?
Yeah, I think the rewarding thing for me is I think my basic spiritual gift I think is encouragement. Sort of a weird thing to think about, isn't it?
No, you can totally see that. Yeah.
But I think it's encouragement, and the rewarding thing for me is getting alongside people and encouraging them, reminding them who they are, encouraging them in the basics. But just seeing them respond to that. So that's the great part of the job for me, because we've got 500 or so pastors throughout the country. So that's a lot of people in our 240 churches or so. So that's the highlight for me, is seeing people flourish, seeing leaders grow and do a good job. The challenge part of Baptist ecclesiology is that we are autonomous, that we do our own thing. But I think sometimes that's hard, and that can be a little bit negative, and sometimes I see that brings fragmentation, and that's hard, and I'm working hard as national leader, because I think we have strength together, and we have wonderful resources, just as we do in a local church. I think we do in the Baptist movement throughout New Zealand, and I'm really working hard to try and bring us together. And so the challenge, that's a really big challenge for me, and a challenge for Bethlehem. And you guys do this well, so I know I'm preaching to the converted. But, who's the local church, Baptist church down the road? Or, and my encouragement is, let's get together. And, locally we can do a lot more if we're working together.
That's good. That's beautiful. Simple but beautiful. I like it. I like it so much. Charles, thank you so much for everything you've shared with us today. We talk a lot on the show about nuggets that get dropped and the need to re-listen to episodes, how to catch all the nuggets. And today is definitely one of those again. Though they may be simple, they're really defining and strong nuggets. So thank you for everything you've shared with us today. We're going to get you to pray for our listeners and for everybody as we close out things in just a moment. But before we do, I just want to talk about tomorrow's episode. So we'll be back again at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Tomorrow we have Clint and Tracy Harris on the show. So Clint, you might know he was the ex-lead frontman for Late 80s Mercedes. I know we've got a bit of a Late 80s Mercedes trend this week, but there's more to it than just that this week. Him and his wife are early childhood educators, and they've been doing some really interesting stuff online for kids. But they've both been on the vision team for Easter Camp over the last number of years as well. So they're going to be talking a little bit about that tomorrow as well. So very creative couple, but also doing some great stuff for families as well. So they'll be with us tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So make sure you tune in again tomorrow at 9 for that. But Charles, let's pass it over to you. Why don't you pray for us as we close out today?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, let's pray together. Jesus, we just want to stay together this morning. This Wednesday morning, that we love you, that we think you are special, and that there is no one more important to us than you. Our God, we thank you that you shaped and formed us in our mother's womb, that you in your graciousness created us to join you in your mission in this world. And we thank you for the truth that nothing can separate your love for us as we go into the day today. Lord, I want to pray for Bethlehem Baptist Church. I pray that you would continue to pour out your blessing upon them. Particularly be with Craig and the pastoral team at this time. Watch over them. Help them to be robust. Help them to make good decisions for the faith community in Bethlehem. I pray that the congregation would grow in their love of you and in their love for their neighbours. Give the church the resources they need to serve you well. And I pray that you would make it very clear to them in the weeks and the months that are ahead how they might be able to be involved in effective mission in their neighbourhood around where they are. Lord, we acknowledge together that we are dependent upon you. We put our trust in you. And we ask that as we go into this day, that you would use us to bring honour and glory to your name. Be with Bethlehem Baptist, I pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Oh, so good.
So good.
So
Thank you so much, Charles, again, for being with us today. I really appreciate your time. You're a busy man, so thank you for coming on to our little show and sharing your wisdom with us today. Very encouraged, I like the word charge. I think the charge you share with us is
so
a powerful
good.
one for us in a local sense and as believers as we continue forward. So thank you so much for everything you do. But to everybody who's watching today and listening later on the day, we'll catch you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you back here at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
See you later.